This morning habit is silently harming your memory after 60. Picture this. You wake up, shuffle into the kitchen, and reach for your first cup of coffee. The sunlight's barely peeking in your joints feel a bit stiff, and your mind's still foggy from sleep. It seems like a peaceful start to the day. But behind that quiet routine, something unexpected is happening inside your brain. A recent study found that brain responsiveness can drop by nearly 38% in the first 30 minutes after waking, especially when one small but common habit is involved. Here's the twist. This is something many people believe is helpful for staying alert. But it might actually be doing the opposite, dulling your memory day after day. In this video, we'll explain what it is, why it matters more than you think, and a better way to protect your memory starting tomorrow morning. Most people over 60 believe that starting the day with something mentally stimulating like the news, a puzzle, or checking emails is a smart way to keep the brain sharp. That's what Linda thought too. Every morning, just after pouring her first cup of coffee, she'd sit by the window, open her iPad, and scroll through the news or start a crossword. It felt productive, like giving her mind a gentle nudge to wake up. But gradually, she began noticing something odd. Words slipped away mid-sentence. She'd walk into a room and forget why she went there. Even conversations felt a little harder to follow. At first, she brushed it off as normal aging, but deep down it unsettled her. What Linda and millions like her don't realize is that the first 30 minutes after waking is a fragile window. And how we treat our brain in that short stretch can either support or slowly sabotage our memory. Here's the issue. After 60, the brain doesn't switch on instantly in the morning. Blood flow to key areas like the hippocampus. The memory center is still ramping up, and the body's natural cortisol spike can make thinking feel scattered. When we dive into screens or mental tasks too quickly, it actually increases cognitive strain. It's like trying to run a marathon before stretching your legs. The brain's still groggy as being asked to perform before it's even had a chance to wake up. Research from the University of California describes this as early-day cognitive slump. Their findings showed that seniors who skipped any kind of physical activation and immediately jumped into screen time or puzzles had nearly 30% more short-term memory errors by afternoon. Think about that, almost one-third more slips, stumbles, and forgetful moments, all because of one quiet choice made each morning. And this doesn't just affect memory. It touches mood balance, even decision-making. Jim, a 72-year-old retired coach, shared something striking. I always thought doing my Sudoku right after waking was helping. But some mornings I'd feel more sluggish, not sharper. And I'd forget little things more often, like appointments or even the names of people I just talked to. What he didn't realize was that his brain was being overloaded at its most vulnerable point in the day. And this story plays out in homes across the country. According to an AARP survey, over 60% of seniors start their morning with a passive habit like watching TV or reading on a device within 20 minutes of waking up. Most believe it helps get the day going, but for an aging brain, it's a missed chance to naturally restore alertness through movement and oxygen flow. Without that boost, the brain stays foggy, making the rest of the day feel slower, less clear, and more frustrating. Worse yet, it becomes a loop. The more tired and foggy you feel in the morning, the more you turn to screens or coffee to feel awake. But those quick fixes only patch the surface. Over time, they can chip away at deeper mental clarity. And that's why this habit, so simple, so normal, can quietly become harmful. Because it tricks us into thinking we're doing the right thing when in fact we're keeping our brain in a low-power state without even realizing it. The good news. The solution doesn't involve giving up your morning coffee or your favorite puzzle. It just requires a small shift, a gentle adjustment in what you do first thing when your eyes open. And it can make all the difference in how clearly, confidently, and joyfully you move through the day ahead. The reason this quiet habit matters so much isn't just about a few forgotten names or slow mornings, it's about the long game. About what happens when that morning fog becomes an everyday weight. About how that weight slowly but surely starts to affect more than just memory. See, the brain doesn't operate in isolation. Especially after 60, it becomes deeply connected to how we move, how we balance, even how we react to the world around us. When your brain wakes up in a fog, your body tends to move slower with less confidence. That hesitation, however small, can increase the risk of falls, missed steps, or delays in reaction time. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), 1 in 4 Americans aged 65 and older falls each year, and many of those falls happen in the early hours when balance and attention are at their weakest. What's even more striking is that memory clarity and physical stability are tightly linked. When your brain struggles to stay alert, your coordination suffers too. So that harmless habit of sitting in stillness and staring at a screen every morning, it might be quietly increasing your fall risk without you realizing it. And there's more. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that older adults who began their day without any light movement showed a 21% higher risk of memory decline over a 3-year period compared to those who simply added a few minutes of gentle physical activation. 21% may not sound alarming at first, but stretched out over the years, that's the difference between staying sharp into your late 70s, or slowly losing the names of loved ones' directions to familiar places, or the ability to follow a conversation without frustration. That's not a scare tactic. It's a quiet reality for millions of seniors, and most of them never see it coming. It doesn't feel urgent at first. One missed word, a lost thought, a foggy start to the day. But those small things add up, and one day, you look around and realize that your world has shrunk a little fewer. Books read, fewer stories, shared, fewer moments remembered. Linda, the woman who used to start her mornings with news and puzzles, told us this. It was like living in soft focus. I didn't notice it until it started affecting my independence. I'd forget if I took my meds, or what day my appointment was. It scared me. What changed everything for Linda wasn't a medication. It wasn't a new supplement. It was understanding that her morning habit, something so simple and routine, was slowly dulling the sharpness she once took for granted. That realization came with a choice: either let the habit continue out of comfort, or shift it slightly and reclaim her clarity. And she's not the only one. More and more studies are revealing that what we do in the first 30 minutes of our day has a ripple effect lasting 8 to 10 hours afterward. It's called first phase activation, and it impacts how our brain processes information, stores short-term memories, and even how it regulates mood. In fact, seniors who began their day with just 5 minutes of upright movement had a 24% improvement in focus scores compared to those who remained sedentary. That's not just about memory, it's about mental energy, stability, and engagement with life. Because memory isn't just a function, it's your connection to everything. To the stories of your children, to the details of your favorite meals, to the feeling of being fully present in the moment. And when that slips, life doesn't just get harder, it gets smaller. That's why this morning mistake is so critical to understand. It isn't just about keeping your mind sharp, it's about holding on to who you are. And the truth is, you don't need to accept the fog as a normal part of aging. You can lift it. You can prevent it. You can stay clear, and it starts with what you do tomorrow morning. So what can you do instead? What's the small shift that can protect your memory, improve your clarity, and help you feel more like yourself, without turning your morning upside down? The answer isn't about cutting things out. It's about what you do first. Just a few minutes of the right movement before the screens, before the puzzles, even before the coffee can completely change how your brain starts the day. And it doesn't have to be exercise. It's more like a morning activation, a way to tell your brain and body, hey, we're awake now. Let's get moving. Linda, the woman we met earlier, made a simple change. Instead of reaching for her iPad the moment she sat down, she started with what she called her sunrise walk. Just 5 minutes around her living room while the coffee brewed. No special clothes, no shoes, just gentle movement. Arm circles, a few slow steps, stretching toward the ceiling. At first it felt silly. I wasn't even breaking a sweat. She laughed. But within a week, something started to shift. She could focus better while reading. Conversations felt easier. And her morning fog. It didn't linger like before. What Linda discovered, and what research backs up, is that gentle movement helps increase blood flow to the brain, especially areas related to memory and attention. It helps regulate cortisol and wake up the nervous system in a way that supports focus, not drains it. In one study from the University of British Columbia, seniors who did 3 minutes of light movement before starting any cognitive task performed 18% better on short-term memory tests than those who remained seated. That's not just a number, it's a doorway, a chance to take back a little more clarity every single morning. And the best part is it doesn't have to be perfect. Jim, the retired coach, made it part of his coffee ritual. While the machine runs, I do this little dance around the counter. I move my legs, rotate my shoulders, even do a few toe taps. It sounds goofy, but I feel sharper afterward. More steady on my feet, too. The point isn't to break a sweat or follow a routine perfectly. It's to build a rhythm that tells your brain we're turning on now gently and fully. Because the truth is, your brain doesn't need a boot camp in the morning. It needs a wake-up call that matches your biology. Movement sends oxygen where it's needed. It tells your balance system to get ready. And it prepares your memory to retain information instead of losing it to that early day fog. The mistake most people make is thinking they need to wait until after breakfast or after errands or when they feel ready. But by then, that crucial window, the one where your brain is most in need of support, has already passed. That's why this solution works best when it's the very first thing. Before emails, before headlines, even before that first sip of coffee. Just 2 to 5 minutes of gentle activation can flip the switch and set the tone for the entire day. Think of it like stirring the soup before serving. Your ingredients, focus, memory, clarity are all in there. They just need a little movement to come alive. And for those with joint pain or limited mobility, don't worry, this isn't about big movements or standing for long periods. Even seated activation works. You can start by rolling your ankles, lifting your heels off the ground, doing gentle shoulder rolls, or slowly reaching your arms overhead. The goal is to create a small wave of circulation and awareness. Movement, no matter how light, acts like a switch that re-engages the connection between your brain and your body. And when that connection is made first thing in the morning, your brain becomes more receptive to everything else you do after. Linda later added a gentle breathing pattern to her routine, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, while walking around her living room. It gave her a sense of calm and clarity that lasted throughout the day. I didn't think something so small would help, she said. But now I don't start my day without it. I feel like I get more of my mind back. It's not just Linda. A 2022 report from the Alzheimer's Prevention Foundation highlighted that adding brief morning movement reduced self-reported memory lapses by 31% among participants over 65. And these weren't athletes. They were everyday seniors, just like you, many of whom had never thought of morning motion as medicine. But that's what it is, movement as memory care. Movement as mental fuel. And it doesn't cost anything. You don't need special equipment, apps, or a subscription. All you need is the willingness to take those first 2 or 3 minutes for yourself, for your brain, for your clarity. And the beautiful part is it builds on itself. After a few days, it starts to feel like part of you, just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. It becomes automatic. And as that routine settles in, the fog that used to follow you into the afternoon starts to lift. You find yourself remembering more, feeling steadier, speaking more clearly. Some people report having sharper conversations with their spouse. Others say they can recall dates and details without hesitation. It's not magic, it's circulation. It's awareness. It's choosing to wake up your brain in the way it was meant to be, woken through motion, through breath, through intention. And the best part, this small act of morning movement doesn't just improve memory. It sets the stage for better balance, quicker reflexes, and a lighter mood throughout the day. That's why this isn't just a tip, it's a shift, a way to rewrite your mornings from passive to purposeful. And once it becomes your new habit, you'll never want to go back. So how do you actually make this part of your morning without turning your routine upside down? That's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to feel like a workout or a task. It just has to feel like something natural, something gentle, something that belongs in the flow of your day. For Linda, it starts before her coffee even finishes brewing. She keeps a light sweater draped over the back of her chair, slips it on, and walks 2 quiet laps around her dining table. The steam from her mug tells her when she's done. Jim, on the other hand, has his own rhythm. He listens to old jazz records in the morning, and while the opening track plays, he moves in place, tapping his feet, doing small marches, rolling his shoulders. It's not about intensity. It's about intention. And once you connect the motion to something you already do every morning, it becomes second nature. You can build your habit right into brushing your teeth standing tall, doing light heel raises or side steps while the water runs. Or even while waiting for the toast to pop, you can do arm swings or seated stretches in your kitchen chair. No special time slot, no pressure. Just moments you already have used in a smarter way. For some mornings feel stiff or slow, that's normal. But this is exactly why we start small. Even if you begin by simply standing for 1 minute after waking or stretching your arms before reaching for the remote, you're already moving in the right direction. And it doesn't need to happen in silence. If music helps, use it. If prayer or quiet thought is your thing, pair it with slow movement. The key is pairing awareness with motion, because when you combine those two, your body and your brain start talking to each other again. And that's where the clarity begins. Some folks even use visual cues. Linda placed a little yellow sticky note on her coffee pot that simply says, "Move first." It's her gentle reminder right when she's half awake and tempted to sit right down. Others use the scent of breakfast as their cue while the oatmeal simmers, or the eggs are on low heat that becomes their moment to gently activate. It's not about adding more to your plate. It's about reclaiming moments that already exist. And once you find your own cue, your own rhythm, you'll start to notice a subtle shift. You won't feel rushed. You'll actually start to enjoy the quiet space between waking up and diving into the rest of the day. Even a routine as simple as feet on the ground, hands in the air, deep breath, 3 small steps in place, it's enough. Done consistently, it becomes a rhythm your brain expects. And just like brushing your teeth tells your mouth we're starting the day, this small activation tells your memory, your balance, and your focus systems, we're ready now. Jim likes to do a seated version right before he opens the newspaper. Just a few leg extensions, shoulder rolls, and neck turns. He says he reads better after. And when he forgets to do it, my mind feels like it's still in bed. He laughs. That's how you know it's working, not because it's hard, but because the day feels clearer when it's done. The beauty of all this is that it respects where you are in life. It doesn't ask for discipline or willpower. It simply invites you to start your morning with yourself, not your screen, not the news, not the noise. Just you, your breath, your body, and a bit of gentle motion. And once you feel the difference, even just a little, you'll realize that this isn't one more thing to remember. It's something you'll want to do because it helps you remember everything else just a little bit better. Maybe you never thought something as simple as your morning rhythm could hold that much power. Most people don't. We go through the motions. Wake up, sit down, sip something warm, maybe turn on the TV or scroll through the phone, and we assume our body and mind will just catch up on their own. But what if they don't? What if day by day that stillness becomes fog? What if the very thing we thought was helping us ease into the day was actually keeping our brain half asleep? The truth is, clarity isn't something you stumble into. It's something you invite, gently, with motion, with breath, with awareness. And no, it doesn't take a big change. It takes a small one, something so subtle you might miss it if you weren't paying attention. Like standing up while your toast finishes, or doing shoulder rolls while brushing your teeth, or taking 3 quiet steps before sitting down. These aren't exercises, they're choices, signals to your brain that say, "I'm here, I'm ready. Let's start the day right." Because memory loss doesn't always arrive like a storm. Sometimes it shows up in quiet mornings, in forgetful moments, in the way conversations feel heavier than they used to. And the good news is that also means the path back to clarity can be just as quiet, just as simple, just as gentle. You don't need a new routine. You just need to meet your old one a little earlier with movement, with intention, with care. And it's not just about memory. It's about freedom. Freedom to think clearly. Freedom to enjoy a conversation without losing your words. Freedom to walk confidently into your kitchen without wondering why you went there. This is what those 2 minutes each morning protect. This is what they build. And no, it's never too late. Whether you're 63 or 83, your brain is still listening. Your body is still responding. All it needs is a gentle cue and a bit of consistency. Linda found it in the sound of her coffee maker. Jim found it in the rhythm of his morning music. You'll find yours too. And when you do, you might notice that life feels a little wider again. The details come back, the fog lifts, and you start to remember not just names and dates, but how good it feels. to be present. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the crossword, before the world reaches for your attention, take those 2 minutes, just for you. Move a little, breathe a little, and know that in that small moment you're doing something big. You're taking care of your memory. You're protecting your freedom. And most importantly, you're starting your day with you. If this story reminded you of someone, share it with them. And if you try this tomorrow, come back and let us know how it feels. One small change, that's all it takes.